Continuing to keep an eye on the speeches that are happening right now on the floor of the Senate. Senator Ben Sasse right now speaking, but we can tell you as well, though, that Kelly Loeffler has rescinded her objections to the certification of the Electoral College vote tonight. So that is one of a handful that we've been waiting to see what might happen in light of the events today in Washington, D.C. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. And in the meantime, we want to bring in J.J. Green right now. He's one of our cybersecurity experts. J.J., we haven't been able to chat with you today. I'm wondering if we can just start with your observations about what unfolded today from a security standpoint and from a personal standpoint.
Well, thanks for having me again. And from a security point of view, it was on December 1st, about 37 days ago, that Gabriel Sterling, the voting implementation manager for the state of Georgia, said in a very emotional press conference, if these chants and these allegations of the election being stolen continue, he said, somebody's going to get hurt, somebody's going to get shot, somebody's going to get killed. All of that happened today at the Capitol because of exactly what he was warning about. And this is one of the most, and this word has been overused today, but this has been one of the most surreal experiences I can think of in the 30 years that I've been in the Washington, D.C. area. And I can tell you this much, it won't be anything that will be soon forgotten. And certainly from a police and law enforcement point of view, the question that's running through the minds of everyone tonight is, how could this happen? So this has just been a very strange day, a tragic day, a deadly day that nobody's going to forget anytime soon.
JJ, I don't think it should be lost or understated the fact that the world is watching what happened here in America today and the vulnerability that was exposed in the breaches of security to get inside the nation's capital. I mean, this is happening at a time that we've talked to you numerous occasions over the last few weeks with the situation with Iran, the cybersecurity attacks on our country and others. For this to happen in this moment, there have to be a lot of minds at work going, how did this happen and what do we do now globally?
Well, first of all, there's going to be a really big investigation that I would wager has already started, because people are wondering, how would the Capitol Police, with 2,000 officers on staff and days, if not weeks, of discussions and planning for the possibility of something like this, how could this happen? What this message the message that this sends to the international community is, am I safe when I go to the U.S. Congress? Am I safe when I go to Washington? What is happening with those institutions that are designed and supposed to be making sure that I am safe as a diplomat coming to Washington? And specifically, more specifically, their very own elected representatives. There are lots of questions that the people that I know overseas are having and floating tonight. They're watching in horror right now.
Yeah, an important point, JJ, and also the message this sends at this time of transition of power. Is this a moment that you expect President-elect Joe Biden to address the international community as to the state of our union?
Absolutely. I mean, he actually started this process a long time ago when he first was elected, or when it was first clear that he would be the next president. He said very, very, very early on, what we want to do is to reassure the international community that America is back and that we're going to fix all of these issues. There's no doubt about it. This is going to be one of the top issues that he and his team addresses once they're in the office of president. And I think the thing that they're going to try to do is to start turning the tables the other way right now, this evening, tonight in Congress, with both Democrats and Republicans saying, essentially reinforcing the message that they've been putting forward, is that our security, in your security, the security of everyone is equal. We want everyone to feel safe in this country, no matter where they are, and that includes whether it's your street or the U.S. Capitol or the White House or wherever. So they're pushing that message, I know, and they're going to tell the international community too. It's safe to come here. We're okay. We're going to do better. We know we made a mistake here, but we're going to do better.
And JJ, I'm looking ahead 2 weeks from today, which is President-elect Biden's inauguration. Do the events of today, do you think, change what was already a scaled-down, largely virtual event because of COVID, a whole different threat in the country? Do you think, though, that his team, his advanced team and a security detail, do they look at any kind of public inauguration differently because of this? On the one hand, dangerous, possibly, but two, just like Congress is doing right now, making a statement that we won't be deterred. How do you balance out those dual priorities?
Well, thanks for that great question. And all of your questions are great. You guys are really good at digging into things and asking great questions. This is not going, it's not going to be business as usual at this inauguration. And this event today is the driving force, because here's what's happening. People that I know in the law enforcement and security community and intelligence community here have been essentially expecting people that came to town today for this event. They expected them to play by the rules. They are not going to take this chance again. They are not going to find themselves in a situation where they are overwhelmed. And you saw the images on the Hill where, as your reporter said, your excellent reporter said, that the Capitol police officers were hurt. I mean, they were outnumbered, severely outnumbered. The security from Secret Service to the rest of DHS to local police, federal law enforcement, the Federal Protective Service are not going to let this happen to them again, because today, a deadly day on Capitol Hill was watched by the world on live television. It was embarrassing. It was deadly. It's dangerous. And they know that if this continues, then our reputation is shot as a nation. And they don't want to be essentially the people that are responsible for it on Inauguration Day to be embarrassed on that day.
So strong words, JJ. I'm going to dig a little bit on this one. There are conversations happening about preparedness today and whether or not we had enough manpower. We had the D.C. mayor bringing in the Metro Police. We had governors from neighboring states sending in their state troopers. The question is the National Guard. And what are your sources telling you about, were we prepared with the National Guard? Who called in the additional forces for the National Guard today as the situation escalated? What are you hearing?
It's my understanding that it was Vice President Pence who had a conversation with the acting Secretary of Defense, and there could be some wiggle room on the nuances here, but it was, to my understanding, it was the Vice President who made that call, had that conversation with the acting Secretary of Defense to turn that around, because we originally were told that the Pentagon had essentially denied the request for extra DC National Guard. But it's my understanding that the Vice President was the person who turned that around. And a part of the reason for that is because it's very clear he got the message when he was escorted out of the Capitol by Secret Service. It was clear to him and those around him just how serious that situation was. And look, the bottom line on it is, you saw the images of the furniture up against the door and officers with their guns drawn in the Capitol chambers. You saw the pictures of people just sort of rummaging through the building. And this was not a situation that was going to be handled in a usual, normal manner. So bringing in the military and bringing in hundreds of police officers from neighboring jurisdictions as far north as New Jersey was necessary. And I think they understood, the folks who got behind this effort to bring in this extra personnel realized that if they didn't do that, this could have been a lot worse.
But JJ, I got to ask one logical follow-up. Why was it Pence making the call to bring the Guard in and not the president himself?
If I had the answer to that question, I probably could wager and be a very rich man tonight. But I can only say to you, based on what I've heard today, the president may not have been in the right space to do that today. Maybe, I don't know. I can't say for sure why that took place. But I do know this. It did happen, and it was absolutely necessary.
All right, J.J. Green, we thank you very much for your time and your security expertise. That was some insightful information, and we appreciate you adding to our conversation tonight. We're going to reset momentarily.